Thank you, young men. Your performances were magnificent. It was very moving. I have my own child that's you guys' age, and it was very important for her to see that story. As young people who aren't old enough to remember the story, weren't born yet, but have the benefit of social media, and you can see injustices that are happening throughout the country. How has filming this movie been meaningful for you, being able to see it kind of from both sides of the coin? And I'll go to each of you.
No, yeah, I think that these men, they didn't have the media. I mean, they didn't have social media back then to capture what was going on or to what was happening to them. And I feel like that part was manipulated by the detectives, that there was no outlet for them, and that nobody could really hear their truth, and that their truth was, or the story was controlled by the media, and they never truly had the opportunity to voice their truth.
I'm piggybacking off what Caleel said. What's wonderful about this series is that this is giving the men what they didn't have in '89. This is telling their story. This is having everyone see in full length what they all experienced, how they were actually just teenage boys that had nothing to do with the crime.
Yeah, a lot of times we in 2019 we have social media to show what happens in the streets and the injustices that go on there, but we don't see what goes on inside of the police force and inside of the DA's office, and really how sometimes people will plot to kind of create this story and just to get a conviction. So I'm so glad that this story is showing the inner workings of the criminal justice system and how things are built on top of each other to really force a story that was never there.
For your own friends, your own peer group, and your friends that are your age, what have they said back to you about your performances and about the story?
I mean, they were all just very happy for us and very proud of us. But I feel like that though this is amazing, the reception that we're getting is just so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for it. I feel like it's not for us. It's for Antron. It's for Corey. It's for Kevin. It's for Raymond, and it's for Yusef. I feel like it's time that these men's truth was finally put out there for the whole world to see, and I just think it's a beautiful thing that this is happening.
What's amazing is that peers, all my peers, black or white or whatever they may be, they are all watching this and they're getting angry. And they're getting upset that that justice was not carried out in this situation, and I think that's the best thing that my peers have told me so far.
Yeah, a lot of my peers have told me that they just didn't know about this story and that they didn't know that things like this happen all the time in America. So I'm glad that people are being woken up and seeing that the criminal injustice or the criminal justice system is unjust.
I've been looking a lot on Twitter and Instagram, a lot of things, and people are saying that this should be required watching for people in schools and just in education. Do you feel like a responsibility now to continue sharing that message, or what are your feelings after hearing that from social media?
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, because this is an important part of our history, and this is an important part of Black history. What happened to these men back in 1989 was terrible, and I feel like it's time that the world wakes up and that the world finally sees this for what it is. And the fact that people are rallying to put these in schools is amazing, just to educate the next generation and to plant that seed in the next generation.
I love that, because if we're not all educated on it, then history will repeat itself, and that has been proven with this case, where not much was said after they were exonerated, after they had been released from prison and everything, and so no one really knew the story. No one really knew what was going on. So that's actually a beautiful thing that it's being pushed to be shown in schools, being required watching, because we really don't want something like this to continue happening throughout our history.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the education system itself should feel a bigger responsibility to shed light on injustices, or not even injustices, but just history of Black people in America. Because it's very telling when in schools, U.S. history is required, but African American history is an elective. African American history is U.S. history, so we should be telling these stories. Whether it's unjust or whether it's one of the proudest stories ever, because it's a part of our history in America.
Thank you, young men. Very proud of you. Wonderful jobs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.